Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the hands. We're going to start with the palm, or the main mass of the hand. And I've gone ahead and, like you've seen before, I just made a guidance mesh, a template mesh. And from this, I'm going to go ahead and make a ton of extractions. So I'm just kind of playing with the edge thickness there. Alright, so you notice I left the knuckles as the same piece, as the same object, even though they are clearly separate objects. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and, first of all, I'm going to re-extract this after I have my clipping done. And after I have that done, what I'm going to go ahead and do is take my new mesh that I have and separate that into different meshes using clipping. So here you see I have this mesh right here. I've gone ahead and duplicated this out so I can mess with it however I want and mess it up as much as I want. And I'm just going out and I'm clipping out all of these knuckles. And this is just going to make it so so all of the pieces fit really well together. They just work a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this a little bit because they're a little bit rounded for my tastes. Alright, and so now we can go ahead and get into the knuckle things. And I'm just going to go ahead and extract each of these like this, each of the knuckles, and kind of separate them out a little bit, give them some breathing room. And right here I'm using the select curve tool. It's a bit finicky still. I wouldn't really recommend it, but I just wanted to kind of try it out. You can't really hide the mesh as you would want to, so that's really the problem is the tool doesn't, like, if you try to invert it, it won't hide what's behind it, so you can just use clipping brushes, but either way works. Or you can mask. So now this is the piece I have right here is the palm of the hand, or the inside of the hand. And the thing that I'm really trying to concentrate with the hand is mobility. I want it to be able to move, but I also need to have tons of pieces for it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just make the outer pieces, including the fingers. Those are outer pieces as well. And then I'm just going to put some little places in where the joints would be, some little meshes in there to give the illusion that if you bent, these things would move out of the way and allow the fingers to move and everything else to move. So you can see right now the finger joint that I'm working on is a solid piece. And initially what I was going to do is just go ahead and shrink this in. But actually what I think I wanted to do, I'm going to go ahead and group these together and just push them in. But with a little bit more thought, I figured that it would just be a bunch easier to go ahead, because you can see I have a little bit of weird folding on itself. So eventually what I did was I went ahead and just extracted a mesh so it would be hollow on the inside, which is what I wanted in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and clip these areas out to get my polygroups perfect. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing for the bottom, the tip of the finger. Actually, I take that back. That is not the tip of the finger. That is the middle joint. Alright, so see I have my mesh here, and I'm just going to go ahead and extract that. All right, perfect. And that is the tip of the finger. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the same thing, smooth it out here. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, instead of using the clipping brush here, I'm actually gonna use the select lasso brush. And this is just a different way to hide certain areas of the mesh. Again, the clipping brush works just as well. But I thought it would be good to kind of show a few alternative methods to do this. Alright, so now after I've created all these kind of armor places, I've went ahead and made a really simple mesh in here that would make the finger, the actual finger. And I'm going to make the rest of the knuckles now, so I'm just going to go ahead and mask these out and then extract them. And I'm going to go ahead and use group loops on them. And just kind of get them into the correct place where they look like they should go. Alright, so I have all of the knuckles done. And like we did in the concept mesh, instead of wasting time in trying to make all of these for each finger, I went ahead and duped the finger. And I'm just going to change the scale and rotate it into place. And I'm just kind of following the rule that the index finger is probably the second longest finger. The middle finger is the longest and the largest. And then your ring finger is a little bit smaller than your index finger, or about the same size. It doesn't really matter. And then your pinky finger is about a third as big as the other fingers. And I want to give them like a gesture, a really laxed hand gesture. All right, so now we're going to make those areas I was talking about earlier that show us that his fingers can move without constraint. This is also going to help us to hide some of the areas in case you're looking at the fingers from straight on. You won't be able to see into the mesh. All right, so that's a pretty good extraction. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this around a bit. Unmask it first. Whenever you extract, it creates a mask on your extraction, but you can't see it. So you have to just go ahead and unmask it if you want to move the entire mesh. Otherwise, you can just affect the edges. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the inside. Hide everything so I can see what I'm doing here. And so this is actually going to help us with this layering issue. Not really issue, our layering goal, I should say. So go ahead and push that up a bit. There we go. Merge those together to make them kind of sit well with each other. Alright, so now I have a few more pieces to make. I'm just going to make a few more around the thumb and then we'll be good with the hands. So I'm just going to make the one in the inside of the thumb, because there's a lot of deformation there. If you go ahead and move your thumb and like push the joints in, you can see how really malleable that area is. So we need to make sure that he can do that as well. Alright, and just move it into place, and then we have one more piece to create. Or two more. This little small joint right here. And you can see I'm trying to make it look like all of these things fold into each other, fold over each other. So that's really just the goal of this whole thing. All right, so this is the final piece for our hands. Sans detail, of course. And the end result looks really good, so we can go ahead and move on.